on point today. Girl, I don't know what the hell you were worried about. Let me get my Jesus lamp going there. Oh, Jesus. There's this one session that I had. Well, let's just look. I don't know if I want to say who it was with right now because there's somebody who's giving people a lot of trouble. Anyways, this one friend of mine that I did a session with that I haven't had a chance to release it yet, like right back there in the corner where the pink and the white walls come together, man, there is fucking some kind of a like big, like some kind of energy there the whole time, and it's so funny because I'm sure you know how I am, right? Like I'm starting to feel stuff. I'm like, right, and I'm like, my nose starts running and everything like this, right? And so I'm getting all these signs. And it's right behind me. You know what I mean? Like, and you can see it on the video for the whole time. Of course, I may not get to ever release that one, which is a real shame because I'm looking forward. I was kind of looking forward to all the people that'd be like, "Oh my God, it's a demon" or something, right? Like, because I would just people trip out. I'm gonna be like, "Well, congratulations on being halfway there. You can see something, but you couldn't feel all the love and the healing that happened in the session." I don't know, right? Keep going. But,
actually, when I was doing Bo's session, he dropped his phone. He was moving and the phone just dropped to the floor and it took a picture and he didn't think anything of it, he just said, oh, I have to deal with that later, and so later he went to his gallery and opened up the picture and there's two beings in the picture.
He said that to me, but I could not see. I just saw some red light or something like that. I could not see.
In where the white light was, and you really brought it in. You could actually see one flying towards you, and the other one was just kind of there. It was like, wow.
Every time I expand it, it would just get kind of like crappier picture. But I sent him a free link to that the DaVinci Resolve program that I use for editing, and it has like the world's best color modification to it. Like that's one of the things I like about DaVinci, although I never use it. But originally I thought I would. But so hopefully he can lighten it up and pull out those things. And if it's a white, then he can really bring out the right whites. Or if it was something that's red, he can really bring out the reds. And put them a link so you can kind of play around with that. And like some tutorials as well. So we'll see how it comes out. But I couldn't see that much when he sent it to me last night.
They reminded me of fairies, to be honest. But they just looked like they were zooming in to join him.
Yeah, and it was because Bo and I were chatting about it a little bit, and he was like, "What do you think people are gonna, think of this? Are they gonna like trip out and think it's really cool?" And I was like, people are gonna see what they're gonna see, Bo. Right? Like it doesn't really matter what it is, or some people are gonna look at it and think it's a fairy, and other people are gonna think it's Satan. That's just how it is, right? That's like how.
That's true.
Right? I mean, like if I had a dime for every time I've been accused of, some AI corrupting me or attachment or a demon or something like that. I mean, people just see what they're going to see, and it's so funny because sometimes the healing is right there in front of their face, right? And
but they don't. They get scared. They get really frightened, freaked out by that kind of stuff, and you can't get past that fear. The fear just dictates everything.
I remember Shelly had said to me, she's like, "Ooh, I don't know about this session. It's a little on the scary side on certain parts." And I said, "Well, Shelly, think of it this way: there's 40 wars going on the planet right now. Okay, so I mean, he's not saying anything new, all right? And the bad guys aren't going to just like roll over and play dead. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay, you guys are so nice and lovey-dovey. We're just going to die, right? That's not how it's going to go, okay? So it's just reality. I'm glad to have that on my channel because I feel like a lot of people would delete that. They would edit it out. They'd be like, oh, it's too scary or it's too real or whatever it might be, that they would edit it out. Not me. I want the real stuff, man. If I'm going to get a session that says there's a tidal wave coming from LA in 2 months, then I want people to know that, right? At least, and decide what they want to do, or to at least have heard it and be thinking, well, I'm going to stay, but just in case he's right, I'll get some emergency food, or I'm going to buy a raft or whatever they do, make sure I've got a way plotted to the nearest hill that I can get up there. I know how to get up and down that hill real fast and easy, whatever it might be.
Right.
I'm not going to worry about, Kelly, you scared 14 million people that live in LA. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do that. It's just, this is the information that's coming through. Take it or leave it. Do what you want with it. Once again, people are going to see what they're going to see, right?
The thing is as well, I mean, who at this point, I don't think any of us really know what's right and what's wrong. And for example, I have actually dreamt of people fighting on the streets and everything else. I've dreamt of spaceships coming in and them turning on the people. And I've dreamt of spaceships coming in and them being loving and kind and, and trying to help everybody. So, you kind of seeing both sides of it. And it's like, you don't know how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So share it without commentary, because you don't know which is right and which is wrong.
Right. It's all potentialities.
Yeah.
For all we know, we could be looking at something that has a 70% chance, and that means that 30% chance it can go the other way too, right? I mean,
And with future, everything's just a probability. That nothing's set in stone when it comes to future. So it's like, yeah, it's there. To take it with a pinch of salt. Do whatever you want with it, but you don't have to. The thing is, it mattered to him. I mean, I didn't know what he was talking about a lot of the time, to be quite honest, especially when he would say things, you all know what we're talking about. We all talk about this all the time. And I'm thinking, well, I haven't a clue what you're talking about. But he obviously didn't want to say things out loud. But whatever it was he was seeing, he didn't want to say it, And I thought, well, it's a puzzle to me. I don't know what you're saying, to be quite honest. But it's what you're seeing, and it means something to you. So it's important that you see it as well, And a strange thing was happening, I think, for me too, because I think I was actually hearing a subtext going on at the same time that he was speaking. So when I asked about the alchemy, that seems to come right out of the blue from nowhere, but it was completely in line with what I was hearing. Mm. And I just thought, well, if there's all these people putting stuff into the earth, putting energies that are destructive into the earth, I have to make sure that what we're doing with the alchemy isn't destructive, And so I was right on what I was hearing rather than what he was saying. And that was like that I didn't realize at the time there was two different conversations going on.
Yeah, and did you feel like you noticed that when you went back and
yeah.
at it, you noticed the same thing too?
Well, I didn't know there was two separate conversations going on until I went back and edited it, and then I realized the stuff that I was hearing is not on the thing at all. And I said, oh, wow. So that does look really random when I throw out that question, but it wasn't random at the time. It really fitted with what I was hearing. And I thought and it makes sense. I thought I was hearing it from Bo, but since he was actually speaking for the same people, it makes sense that it would have sounded the same, whichever way it came, directly to me or from him.
Right.
Because there's the same energy speaking.
Just a minute here. There we go. I feel like if my internet goes out for a second, it should come back, but I guess it's okay. I thought it was getting weird, but sorry, I got slightly distracted there for a second. I was just opening up your questions too. They look great. They're going to be awesome. The other thing is that I've kind of been working on a new induction all morning.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to try it on you, but there's a lot of parts to it. So you may say to me, okay, that first part I really liked, but the third part, it just brought me right back out of it or something. This is an experiment. So I just need your input on how you feel as it goes along.
Right.
Maybe too long for all I know, because I was just on a good roll. And
yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to Shelly and I was telling her about that session of Vanessa's, right? And this is how jaded I've become, right? Like all the the mind-blowing stuff that I've seen, right? I'm like, yeah, and she's just a giant, and she's protecting these humans after the fall of Atlantis. I think I'm gonna erase it. And she's like, what are you talking about, Kelly? Are you fucking nuts? He's like a giant protecting the humans right after the fall of Atlantis, and they're living in the Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
What is wrong with you, dude? That is so cool. And I'm like,
and that's in line with
yeah.
you looking for skeletons of giants and everything too.
Yeah, right. It all ties in, right?
Exactly.
Now, the part that you didn't hear, because like at the end we cut the tape off, right? And so what they told me was that because of the way that I'm going to be looking at these topographical features or whatever, the hills and things like that, right? Because everything's hidden in plain sight, is what they said, right? And I'm going to be like basically driving down the road one day and see a hill that looks suspicious to me and stop and look at it, and I'm going to find a bunch of teeth.
Oh, wow.
That people just think are rocks or something like that.
Right.
Which, that makes it sound like it's a titan more than a giant.
Wow.
I'm not going to dig down a whole hill, by myself or anything, right? And,
Right.
but the shame, like what I really want out of life is when I find one in a casket, I can just grab that. I get three of my buddies, like, get on the other side and let's get this thing in the car, right? And hopefully it'd be like about well, here's the problem though. Even if I did that, like 15 or 20 footer, where am I going to get my car? That's longer than my car. But
Right.
but the real goal is I wanted somewhere on that kind of like 15 to 20 foot length where it's just like it's big enough that it's not. There's people in the world that are 7 foot and 8 foot. To find a 9 footer, they would just say, "Oh, this guy had a pituitary problem," right? And so it has to be a little bigger than that, but not so big that it doesn't fit in the freaking garage. Right? But anyways, I'm sure you'll be one of the first to know when I do it. At the very least, find some teeth that are like this big or something. Right? Yeah, and then we can have them DNA tested or something. But I know when Brian did that, I think it cost like $100,000 or something for a decent amount. Yeah, so maybe we won't do that. But by the same token, though, we can always do a GoFundMe campaign if we got enough bones or something. And
Wow.
they had a whole bunch of skulls tested. I think it was about $10,000 a pop or something. So it wasn't like, yeah, but tooth is good because there's that stuff inside the tooth. There's probably going to be DNA in that.
Right. That's true. That is true.
Okay. Now, I want to go over your questions here like we always do. Just make sure that I understand them and I'm asking them from the right angle.
Yeah.
So, is the dragon aspect of my multidimensional self who offered to assist Mother Gaia and the people of planet Earth in their ascension. Who offered?
Is it the dragon? Yeah, who offered? Because if we're multidimensional, somebody somewhere said, "I'm coming to Mother Earth, and I am their representative." Right. So who's the person who offered? Is it the dragon who offers? And then if we can find out who it is at all, is there any way to act? Because they must have had a purpose. They must have had a talent or skill that they were offering for Mother Gaia. So the question is, who sent me? What is the skill that they have? So can I access it? Because that seems to make sense to me. Instead of me wandering around like a lunatic, not knowing how to get my next loaf of bread, can we get down to basics here and do what we need to do?
I mean, you know what they're going to say? They're going to be like, be you, be the light, and just let people see you, right? I mean, like, that's almost always what it ends up being, but right?
But I'm trying to, still trying to get closer to where the truth is, because
well, the car guy Kelly, I'll dig a little deeper than that. I won't just let him get away with that easy pat answer with me, all right?
Right.
will be. Okay, so let's see here. Assuming that I was sent to Earth on a mission, why is it so difficult to discover what that mission is? How do I, which is a great question too. Hopefully we will get an answer to that, because I bet that'll be something that something that a lot of people are wondering. And how do I move beyond struggling to survive into becoming fully aware of my true being and purpose, accessing the wisdom and talents I need to accomplish my purpose? Okay.
So they're linked, except the first question is more, if we're meeting the dragon, is that the person I'm just trying to pin that person down. That being done, I'm just trying to pin somebody down. And the second one is much more general.
It's a good question too, because theoretically, like your higher self or an oversoul, a lot of people will depict those like an octopus. You know what I mean? It's like there's this big head, and then it's just got all these tentacles coming, and this is a life, and that's a life, and that's a life, and and they're all simultaneous from the perspective of an oversoul, right?
Right.
And so, is it like the dragon is this finger and I'm this finger, or is it like this finger is the dragon and then the dragon sprouted off, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I understand that. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. I'd like to understand the purpose of BQH as a tool for me. It seems more like a tool to gather information than a tool for healing. However, the information that comes through is not necessarily accurate or even true. How do I improve the accuracy? Is there anything I can do while facilitating a session to assist the client accessing information from source rather than ego? This is great questions. I will tell you that what Patrick says is that if somebody's moving their hands around and messing with their microphone all the time, they're probably not in that deep of a state, right?
Right. Right.
And I know that from our experience, once again, somebody was kind of tormenting my friends, and so I had to pull down some of those videos with Patrick. But in some of the videos with him, in the past, what we had heard was that he will generally run from about 80% to 88% accuracy. So this is one of the things that makes him kind of special, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is based on the level of trance, the state of his body that day, right? Does he had proper rest and food and whatnot, right? And also the subject matter, if it's something that he can relate to or it fits his natural skills. So if I'm asking him to describe what something looks like, it's going to come through very, very good. But if I say to him, what are the map coordinates? He's going to give me shit, right? Because it just doesn't fit his natural aptitude. Okay? But then, like the last session we did, he went so far under that, like deeper than before. And this is what I'm finding, that everybody that I'm working with, just like you probably noticed in that Vanessa video, right? Did you see what I was talking about when I call in the higher self and she just goes, right? Did you notice that as a practitioner? Or did I mention that to you?
No, I was watching this morning, so no, you could see it.
Okay. So, and this is important because this goes to your question, and we're going to get a better answer than from Kelly, but Kelly's a good person to ask this question to also. Okay, so I'll give you my angle on it. You see that Vanessa hits that really good state, which she's never hit before with me, and I'm talking to the higher self. How do I know when the person is in a place where we can have instant healing instead of a year from now healing? How do I know when they're in a place where the information that comes through is that higher level of accuracy, right? We actually got Patrick to this place one time where I asked the higher self, what kind of accuracy are we at right now? Because I'm just feeling it, right? And then the higher self said, you guys are like over 95% or something, right? And what I learned in previous sessions was that some of the distortion was coming from me, Right, so I say, oh, it's based on, you know, the level of trance and the subject matter, and has he had the right food and rest and stuff like that, and how much is the facilitator fucking it up with their own distortion, right? Because we're a team, right? Just like when they came and they knocked the picture off of my wall, right, and not Patrick's, right? You remember that?
No, I don't. That's a good one though.
Yeah. So in the Egypt session, the Egypt, the first quantum travel, where we go to
Right.
Egypt, and they keep trying to kick us out, right? And you know, I always say we know why Patrick's with us because he's a high vibrational being, and they'll pretty much let him into anywhere, right? But so, why is Kelly, the ex-car salesman, been recruited into all this, right? Well, here's why. Because they go, you guys cannot touch that technology. You already know way too much about it. You go now, right? And I'm like, wait. And Patrick's like, oh, okay, well, you know, sorry, I guess we're done, right? I'm like, wait. Ask him, if we don't touch any more technology, can we still stay for a little longer? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, cool. Let's go look at those artifacts over there, see if any of them are magical, right? So we go over to the artifacts and they're like, all right, you guys can't touch the artifacts, right? I've given them the magic power, right? Artifact recall. Anything you touch, you know everything about it, right? So this is part of what I do with Patrick, is I give him a magic power for every trip. Now, and I'll be doing that with you pretty soon too, right? At different ones, like for instance, when we go to the Grand Canyon, I'll give you a mineral vision, so you can look through the rocks, see where the petals are, see where the gold is, see where the pyramids are, right? So it's a different magic power for every trip based on what we're doing that day. But this artifact recall got us into big trouble, right? Because every time he would go to touch something, that's when they would go, that's it, you guys got to go, right? So we go to the artifacts, and he goes to touch them. He's like, and they're like, hey, you guys get out of here, right? You got to go, man. You can come back some other time, where you got to go, right? And I say, well, wait a minute, wait. What if we don't touch any artifacts or any technology? Can we still hang out for a while? Yeah, that's okay, right? Okay, sweet. So, and by the way, this tells you how freaking bitchin' the quantum travel modality really is, okay? Because think about this. If you're a remote viewer for the government, right? If you're a psychic or a lucid dreamer or an astral projector, where's the first place you're gonna go to see how it works? The same place that was the first place we went, the pyramids of Egypt, right? And whether it's the first place or the second, you're gonna end up there, right? But
Yeah.
this seventh dimensional being that is overseeing the building of the pyramids has seen every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every pro, rookie,
True.
middle of the road has come through, and they know what they can and can't do, right? So then here I am, car salesman Kelly, say, hey, we won't play with that. Would it be okay if we just, you know, hung out and did some other things? And they go, sure. What's the worst that can happen? And all of a sudden, bam, they're like, don't do that, right? So we were doing things that this being who's been there for all of eternity and sees everybody come through, we were surprising it. Right? Okay. So now he says, you guys can't touch the artifacts. You already know too much. You've already seen too much. Nobody else even sees that stuff, much less is about to touch it with their freaking magical know everything about it power. Right? You got to go. and so I say, well, okay, we won't touch any artifacts. We won't touch any technology. Is that okay? I say, yeah, that's fine. So I go, hey, Patrick, I heard there's some tunnels underneath the pyramids, right? So we go down under the ground. We're like, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles below the surface. And we find this room, these 2 rooms, and they've got some kind of machinery in them. And you know how like the pyramids are supposed to be like some kind of like a power plant or something like that, and there's water going on. Have you ever heard about this, right? So we found stuff that goes to that makes it work that way. And there's a little bit of a shield on it, and we're gonna go touch it, and I'm like, no, don't do it, all right? We're gonna get busted again. And so then the next place we end up is 17 kilometers down, and we're in a spaceship. Okay, under the ground, under the pyramid, and it's a huge spaceship, and they have got all of these children in there, and they're like plugging them up the machines and teaching them like everything there is to know. And these kids are going to be like the first contact after the ascension or before it or something like that. Okay.
Right.
Now the amazing thing is that 3 days later, I saw a video of Alba's where she's talking to like God or Source or whatever you want to call it, the Holy Spirit, I like, right? And he says, "I've got kids under the ground right now that are being programmed for first contact." Right? Me and Patrick saw him a couple days before that. Okay, so I'm like, well, let's go snoop around the ship and let's start asking some people some questions and find out what's going on. And boom, the seventh dimensional being is right back down there. He's like, "How do you think we put this 17 kilometers under the ground, right?" and you guys got to go. And I said, "No, wait. What if? What if we go back in time to before you guys? Because we went to right when they just finished the pyramid. We could see it in its most perfect state, like the day after when they're doing the opening ceremonies, right?
Right.
And then we went back a little bit farther just to kind of see it under construction and see how it all happened. But I say, what if we go back a little farther in time to before you guys even started the pyramids? So there's not going to be any artifacts. There won't be any technology laying around. Surely there's no way we could get in trouble there. And he goes, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Right? I'm going to flip a coin now. Did we get in trouble? Did we find a way to get? Yeah, we did. Okay, so we go back to before the pyramid is made, and we see this. It's like a beautiful jungle, like it's not desert at all, right? This is in Egypt, right? And Patrick sees this thing that he can't tell if it's like a bear or an ape or some kind of cross between the two or what exactly it is.
Right.
And I'm like, is it a Sasquatch? Is it a Yeti? Is it? I mean, he doesn't know what any of those things are. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, Cal." I'm like, "Well, go touch it." I'm never giving him artifact recall again because that's when we get into all our trouble, right? Everything else we tried to do was fine, but if you're gonna touch anything with artifact recall, so he goes up and he touches it on the board. He's like, "Oh, so this is the thing." Remember those super strong things that we saw that were moving the rocks after they cut them in the rock quarry? Yeah. Okay, so this is the thing that they genetically modified to be those things. After, yeah, really cool, right? After they'd had a failed attempt with some lizard species. I guess they had too much ego, and I'm like, "Wait a minute. You're saying they screwed up with the lizards? When they tried yeah, they screwed them up. It didn't work. What did they do wrong? Let's go check that out, right?" And boom, right? And then all of a sudden, the painting comes. Now, okay, Patrick's there, not me, right? Patrick's in Canada. I'm in Southern California, right? And a picture comes flying off my wall out in the front room. And I don't mean the picture like fell down.
Right.
I mean like it flew across the room, bounced off the arm of the sofa, landed with a smash.
Wow.
Yeah. and I was like, "Okay, well, I guess we're done for today." Sorry, we're very sorry. This is our first try. We didn't know exactly what we can and can't do. We're just learning. And they're like, "It's fine. Oh, man." Because, man, I can't be chasing you guys around all the time. But so we got in trouble like 4 different times until the point that they finally threw a picture off the wall. And yeah, I can't even remember why I started to tell you that story, but it's one of my favorite stories to tell. I'm sure I've told it in a couple videos. But, that's the one. And that one is still up on the channel too. It says Quantum Travel #1.
You know, I started watching it, and I think I ran out of time. I was getting ready for work or something, so I saw a piece of it. And the interesting thing I found when I was watching it was you were asking, it was early in the thing, but you were asking him questions, and I was shouting at the screen because I could see what was going on. And I was thinking, how am I seeing this? Because I'm not even part of this journey. But I could see it in my head what he was seeing. And so I was yelling at the screen the answers to the questions, and Patrick wasn't answering. And I was like, come on, guys.
Well, you know that something that you and I are going to have to collaborate on, because they had said to Patrick that we should make a like some kind of a board. It'd be similar to a Ouija board that people could use that wouldn't have any ability for like negative spirits to come through it or anything. And so, you know, design it a special way or whatever it is anyways, and we would sell these boards someday, right? But for some reason, the way he described it to me, and he meant to call it like a talking board, and the way I heard it was as a vision board, right? And so I instantly got this vision of, what if there's a certain crystal that goes with this board that maybe Patrick's wearing one of them too, and people would be able to see what he's seeing. And so here you are doing it and without any help at all. But maybe someday we'll be able to collaborate on that type of a project that people could actually sit at home with their board or their whatever tool that we provide them that, you know, maybe they buy from us or whatever. We just tell them where to go get one. I don't care. And but I mean, probably it'd have to be something that we have kind of, you know, blessed or something like that, that says this gives you attachment to what we're doing, and people are going to be able to hold us and get the vision and see what he's seeing. How cool would that be?
I could see that kind of thing working, because I've done it with I'm not a good seer. I don't see very well, to be honest. But I was watching Psychic LJ, Louise Jones in Britain, and she was doing a visit to the Vatican, and she was finding the space technology and everything else under the Vatican. And I was watching her video too, and I'm like sitting there going like, oh my God, there's such and such happening. There's such and I could see all the stuff happening. And then she would say what she was seeing. And I'm thinking, yes, I know. Now move on. So,
There was no guards that spotted her when she went to Vatican?
she ended up running. She had to run. She got into a real scary space, to be quite honest, because she was spotted.
Yeah, see, that's my concern, because yeah, I was wondering. I felt like it wasn't a safe place to go. Same thing. I want to go to Smithsonian real bad, but it's a little scared about that. You know, I don't want to go anywhere that is dangerous in that way.
No,
But
she was actually scared. She had to run. And she had a protector with her. I think she might have taken the werewolf with her, but I'm not sure. She met a werewolf in one of her journeys, and I think she rescued the werewolf from something. I think it was trapped, and she rescued it. It was huge, massive animal. But he asked her, "Can I stay with you? I like you. Can I stay with you?" And now he travels with her when she goes on the dangerous missions.
Sarah Jane, in the session yesterday, we were talking to dragons for the longest time, but then at some point we brought through a vampire and a werewolf.
Wow.
And they were both like, "We're good guys," and I was like, "I'm sure about that, right?" Like for some reason I could believe that the dragons are right, but I'm like, I don't know about this one, right? What do you mean?
Well, I think the werewolf, I watched a video where she met the werewolf, and she was scared. She thought, oh my God, she's like this huge creature. She's like, oh my gosh. But this creature became her friend. And he was so pleased to be released from his setup. So he just was like, oh, yeah, I'm with you now.
Well, and so you know, and the vampire is like, come on, Kel. I mean, think about it. Just think about it. We're immortal. We live forever, but we need people's blood.
Yeah.
How does that even pencil out? And I'm just like, well, that's right. Doesn't make any sense at all, right?
Yeah.
Dragons, you know, why we're, because I think dragons something like You know, are you guys bad guys or good guys? Well, I can't remember what the question I asked them, but right, they do this thing. They probably did it 5 or 6 different times in the session. You humans! Oh my God! You know what I mean? Like, only a human would ask a question like this, right? And I'm like, where do you get this stuff from? And so I say, dude, have you seen any of the books? Have you seen any of our movies? I mean, come on. What do you mean, where do I get this? That's all I have to go off of. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, I guess we can see that. But the reason, and I said, so why is it that way? Because if you guys knew that there was dragons, then you would know a whole lot of other things, and you'd have no fear of a lot of other stuff, and you'd be much harder to control, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it's the churches that got rid of the dragons.
that's pretty believable.
If you look at the art of the church, it's you see Saint Michael, Archangel Michael, is busy slaying a dragon. St. George slayed the dragons. You know, if you look through the art, the dragons always had to be slayed. They always were killed. And it's like, why? Why were they always killed?
Right,
And
they're getting killed by the church.
and they get, yeah, exactly, always killed by the good guys of the church, you know, and it's like,
Or it could be a knight in shining armor, right? It's the other guy that kills dragons, right? But most of
you
those
know,
guys are like Knights Templar, and they really kind of vaguely represent the church in one way or another, anyways.
it's, and the knights themselves, like the Knights Templars, they were annihilated by the church.
Mm-hmm.
They were, that's why we have Friday the 13th is a unlucky day, because they said they massacred them on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
They massacred the Knights Templars because the Knights Templars were really strong. They had they had a money, not it was like a banking system, but not banking system. So you would deposit, just in today's money, you put $10 in a bank here in America, and then you would travel to Italy and you would pick up $10 from the bank in Italy, so to speak. And so the money never traveled. The people traveled, but the money stayed in the Knights Templars' possessions in various parts of the world. And so people were able to literally travel wherever they wanted, not have to worry about bandits or anything else. And it was free and easy and accessible. And the church would not have that. They wanted rid of them. They destroyed them.
They were the ones that came up with the fractional banking too, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, if you got $1,000, you can loan out 10 grand. Because what are the odds that anybody's going to come back and ask for all their money at once, anyways? Okay, so let's look at a few more of these questions here. We get too far off track, and
yeah, we did get far off track there.
we get all excited too. We get talking. That's not the mode we're supposed to be in, right? Let's be chilling. Are you just going to stay in that chair the whole time? Is that your plan?
No, I've got the thing here.
Oh, yeah.
On the computer over.
All right. So, what if any is the connection between angels and dragons? There is a connection there, by the way. And once I did a meditation, met the same high energy. Okay, I'll work with that. Okay. Also, what we found out in Sarah Jane's session is that there's a connection between the dragons and crystals.
Yes, yes.
So just like there's dragons for like air and water and dirt and fire and whatnot, there's dragons that resonate to each type of crystal, whether it be quartz or rose quartz or whatever, that type of a vibe that it gives you. And they can actually, you saw it in Vanessa's video, they were talking about the humans, though even the ones that couldn't see the dragons would take crystals out and leave them, and the dragons will come back and charge them, right? Recharge them, whatever. And so this is actually came out in Sarah Jane's session, same thing. The dragons can charge the crystals.
Right.
But what they told us was, don't buy any more crystals.
Right.
If it's a secondhand crystal or something, like if I sold you one of mine, that like this one's sitting right there, that's one thing, right? But if you go to a crystal shop that just plucked them out of the ground, we don't want that to be supported.
Right.
Right. It's getting to a point. And I remember we saw that one picture of that beautiful crystal, and you were like, should that have come out of the ground?
Yeah,
right.
I'm sure that shouldn't have been it.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, they're saying we don't want them coming out of the ground anymore. If they're already out of the ground, so be it. And if it's been out of the ground for a while and it's secondhand, that's fine. But don't go buy new crystals anymore. So all you people out there.
Right.
But the other thing they said was, just as a dragon can charge a crystal with that particular vibe or energy or thing that it does, properties that it has, you can get up every morning and ask for a dragon to put the crystal energy right in your pocket, and you don't even need to have a crystal there, right? And you can ask for a specific kind of energy, or you can just say whatever best is going to serve me throughout today's day, right? What do I need? Oh, well, you need black tourmaline because you're going to come across some nasty people today, right? Or you need some rose quartz because it's going to keep that love feeling in your heart, and we know how you like that, right? And so they'll give you just whatever crystal energy you need on your person without even having to have the crystal. So how cool is that?
It is cool.
Yeah. The angels of Dragon, I don't think they're the same beings, but they are very similar. There is a connection. You want to hear the coolest thing? My favorite part of the session is I was able to stump them. So I said, how are souls made? And the dragons were like, we actually don't know that one. One of the few things we don't know, right? Oh. Right, so let's see. Once I saw myself as a vast patchwork quilt of light spread out over the land and sea. What was that? Ooh, I can't wait to hear that one. Oh, how are me and Kelly pals? That we worked together before. Yay. Superorganism. Yay. We love that. My role. Yay. We love that. I've gone through some very difficult years. Let's create a purpose. Did I just get trapped, right? One of our friends, we know that she had answered the call only 75,000 years ago, came to help Gaia, got trapped, and was like incredibly shocked at how much harder it went. Just like, oh, I'm this super powerful multi-dimensional being. I just go down there and handle shit and could be back before you guys know it, right? Or just 75,000 years later, she's still trapped, you know, right? Because the first time she got here, she was like an oracle, and everybody came to see her, and she kind of abused her powers, and so that's how she got. Okay, I can feel other people's energies, but why can't I figure out when they're bullshitting me?
Yeah, what?
Right. I had the same problem. I can't wait to hear that one.
It gets me every single time, especially when people lie. I don't understand lies. I think I just when I get caught out, and I do all the time with people lying, I always think, they're telling lies. Why did they tell lies?
Yeah. And you may have heard me talk about this before, because I say this a lot. There's some things that I just always come back to, but we talk about the Hermetic wisdom, like as above, so below, as within, so without. Somebody couldn't call you a name unless they kind of resonate with it, right? And for instance, if there's two people in a room and I say, well, you guys are both thieves, and one of them says whatever, right? And the other one says, no, I've never stolen anything in my whole life. How dare you call me a thief, right? So which one of them has had to suppress the urge to steal the most times, right? And is more proud of themselves for it, right? Because one of them just never thought of it. They're like, what's that got to do with me? So they don't get offended at all. They're like, it's so far from the truth. They're just like, okay, whatever you want to say, dude, all right? It's got nothing to do with me. But the other person, it gets offended by it because it has something to do with them.
Right.
Right. And so the idea with as above, so below is that we are always projecting our BS off onto other people. Right. Like it's just a mirror of the world. Like whatever. If somebody says you're a jerk, it's because there's a part of them that feels like they're a jerk. Right.
Right.
And so it works.
So if everybody around me is dishonest, it means I'm dishonest.
No, here's what happens. Okay, but I just want to go a little deeper into it before I get into what's happening for you.
Right.
In a theoretical, from Kelly's version. So if somebody says, we're saying come about as below, above, so below, as within, so without, we always put our BS off on other people. So let's talk about a jealous boyfriend. And he says, Ursula, I don't want you to go to work at that car lot where there's 40 guys working there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because his only point of reference is, what would he do if he was in a room full of girls every day? Right? That's his only way that he can guess what would happen, right? So if somebody is jealous, what are they really telling you? They're untrustworthy, right? So let's talk about another person. You hear these people, they say, I don't trust anyone. You know, when push comes to shove, they're all going to stab you in the back and do what's right for them, right? Well,
Right.
that's somebody that I don't want to be on a life raft with,
Right.
right? Because they're putting their BS off on the rest of the world.
Right.
They're viewing the world based on their filter. Okay. So now we come back to it and we're going to use it a different way. How it affects Kelly and Ursula, who aren't dishonest, who wouldn't stab you in the back, if you know, right?
Right.
So here's what happens to me all the time. I'm so honest and trustworthy and brave and love everybody and wouldn't hurt anyone. So I put my BS off on the world. Right? It's the same thing. I think, oh, nobody would ever hurt anyone. Nobody would ever do anything dishonest. I can't imagine it.
Oh God, yeah, no, I never thought of that. That's true.
Right? So this, dude, it took me a while to really learn this. I had to have so many bad things happen to me. Like after my awakening, like when I was a car guy, I never had this problem, right? But once I had my awakening and I became like this super pure individual, I'm getting screwed all the time, and every time it just comes out of left field. He's like, "What the fuck did that? Where did that? Why did they? Who the? What the hell? Huh?" Right? And I don't even understand what is that, right? And I finally figured it out. Oh, because I'm putting myself into these people. I'm projecting myself into the
So
world.
I'm expecting honesty every time when in fact there isn't honesty.
Right?
Funny. That is funny.
Yeah. So I hope there's some other people out there, some of you other enlightened folks that are getting mad by stuff out of left field. Now maybe you can understand why it's coming from left field, just because it's something you would never think of, right?
Yeah, you know, one thing that drives me insane because it happens to me so regularly is false accusations. People make false accusations and I just crumble every time because I don't know. It's like, why? Why are you accusing me of something that I obviously not only didn't do, but wouldn't even think of doing?
Right? I've never even conceived of. Like, where do you even get it?
Yeah, and I get so, I keep searching my soul to find out what I've done that made them think that I was worthy of such an accusation. You know, is there a piece of me that is horrible and nasty that I don't see, that I'm not seeing, and I'm searching everybody around?
Nope, that's their own self. It's just like we were talking about earlier with Bo. You know, people are going to see what they're going to see. Like I'm talking about, you know, this energy that was right behind me in that one session. People are going to see what they're going to see based on them,
Right,
right? Not based on what it is.
right, right.
So there's that. Okay, so that's a great lesson for everybody. All right. So I would love some words of guidance and reassurance. What are my next steps? Sure. Am I on the right path? Right.
Right.
And we always just want to know. Are we serving the highest good? And see what?
Cobbled streets.
Okay, perfect. Can you move the microphone up just a little closer to your mouth there? There it is. Yeah, yeah. A little closer to the mouth. A little higher up. There we go. Okay, and you said it was a cobbled street?
Cobbled, yeah.
Okay,
Very narrow.
okay. Like for something that you would just walk on, or can vehicles go on it too?
Donkeys.
Donkeys? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you see any donkeys on it right now?
No, it's deserted.
Okay. And does this seem like somewhere you've been before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to go down this street in a moment. But before we do it, let's explore a couple things. First of all, what do your feet look like?
Sandaled.
Mhm.
I've got normal feet, but they're sandaled.
Okay. Do they seem male or female?
Male.
Okay. And what are you wearing?
It's like a kind of sackcloth, like a robe, tunic.
Okay.
It's sackcloth kind of polka fabric.
Maybe like a belt in the middle or something like that?
Yeah,
Or sash or something? Okay. And,
some kind of belt.
okay. And as you look at your hands, is there anything that stands out about them? Does it seem like you do hard work or easy work? Anything on them?
They look like there are no rings or anything, but they do look like workers' hands.
Okay. Very interesting. And we want to just step out and look from an observer's perspective for a moment and tell me what the face looks like. Is it
Like a
big?
young boy with curly hair.
Okay.
Like when I say young boy, like teenager.
Okay. Perfect. And what's the hair like?
Wild and curly, dark brown.
Okay. And the ears and the nose, they look pretty normal to you?
Hmm.
Okay. And would you say it feels like you are on Earth right now?
Yes.
Perfect. And as you look at the sky, what time of day would you say it is?
Mm, Probably early afternoon.
Okay. And how's the temperature right now? Is it warm, cold, medium?
That's lovely. It's perfect temperature.
Mm,
It's warm.
okay. And what time of year would you say it is?
Spring, early summer.
Sounds like a very nice time. Okay. Now, before we head down this road, I just want to take a moment to look all the way around in a complete 360 and see if there's anything else that catches our eye. Tell me what you're seeing as you spin around and look.
I like kind of stone buildings. This seems to be the trades area.
Okay. Like where people come to exchange goods.
Hmm. Where people where people do work. Like carpentry and maybe some little stores.
And you say the buildings are made of stone, is that right?
Stone, yeah.
Okay. And does it seem like it's like cut out of one big piece, or is it a bunch of little rocks stacked on top of each other? What do you mean? Is it bricks or what?
Not quite bricks, but stones on top of each other.
Is there like mortar or mud between them? Or they just fit together perfectly?
Probably mortar.
Okay. And what kind of roofs? What are the roofs made out of?
A wooden straw.
Okay. I'm getting a feeling of like Greece or Rome or something like that. What would you say? Where is it?
Which is Mediterranean.
Mediterranean. Okay. And what time would you say it is? How far back is this?
1100 and something.
1100 and something? Okay.
Yeah.
And how many people are you seeing around there? Is it a lot, a little?
I'm not seeing anybody.
Okay.
It might be siesta time.
Oh, okay. Sure, that makes sense. And by the way, did you bring anything with you when you went to this part of town, or do you have a like a donkey with you or anything like that?
No, I'm just out for a walk.
Okay. And what seems most important to explore here first? What's catching your eye? What are you curious about?
I was heading out of town.
Okay, so you were heading out of town. All right.
Mm.
Continue a little down that cobblestone road then. We'll see where you're going. Enjoying the nice weather and the scenery. And as you're heading out of town, do you remember where you were going to?
I have a favorite tree.
Your favorite tree?
Hmm.
Okay. And tell me when you get there to your favorite tree then.
Yeah, I'm at my tree.
All right.
Mm.
And what is it about this tree that makes it your favorite tree?
It's so peaceful.
Okay. Is it a good tree for climbing, or do you just sit underneath and enjoy the shade?
I sit underneath.
Do you have any friends that ever come over here with you?
Oh, this is my space.
Oh,
I need space alone.
oh, okay. So just like when you want a little quiet time and just break
Yeah.
away from everything else.
Yes.
Wonderful. And do you find that you're able to kind of connect with any of the spirits of nature when you're out here by yourself under your favorite tree?
I daydream here.
Mm. What kind of things do you daydream about? Like what you will be when you grow up, or what type of a girl you'll marry, or what do you like to daydream about the most? Do you make inventions?
I like to see the sparkles.
What sparkles?
It's little sparkles always around.
They're always around this tree.
Yeah.
Mm. Do those sparkles have a sentience of any kind? Are you able to connect with them at all or communicate with them?
I've never tried to. They
Let's
always make me feel so peaceful.
just for fun, let's just see if any of these sparkles wants to come forward and communicate with us today. So, hi there, sparkles. Anybody want to come forward and talk? They, they're just something that's pretty, or do they have an
Oh,
intelligence attached to them?
one has stopped.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for stopping to talk to us today. Um, can you tell us what you are and why you appear to this boy when he comes to this tree?
Hmm.
Seems like they have a very nice energy to them, huh?
Yes.
Hmm. Are they?
Yes, I live in this area.
Oh,
Spark. Yeah, we live in this area.
so they're
This
just
is our
always.
home.
It's not like they're just specifically appearing to the boy. They're just always there.
Yeah, he's probably one of the few that notices us, though.
Oh, interesting. By the way, does he have a name?
Martin.
Martin. Okay, it's a
Hmm.
good name. All right. So, talking to the sparkles some more. Are you guys like, are you fairies? Are you some kind of a earth spirit? Are you an insect? What are you guys?
Some call us fairies. Yes, fairies will do.
You fairies?
Yes.
Oh, right on. You guys know Ursula?
Hmm. Yes.
We thought so. And is this, we feel like this is an island out in the Mediterranean, is that right? A piece of land? Or where is this place?
Lebanon.
Lebanon?
Hmm.
Okay. Ooh, is this near Baalbek at all?
Don't know.
Okay. All right. And can you tell us, why was Ursula brought here? What can she learn from this lifetime?
How to let go and just be in the moment.
Mm, right, kind of like Martin's doing when he comes out here. He sits under the tree and he just chills, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And you feel like maybe sometimes Ursula thinks about things too much or something like that, or focuses on the wrong things? What is it she should be letting
So-
go of?
Sometimes she thinks she has to be busy all the time.
Mm, right, right,
And sometimes it's just enough to be.
right. So if she had a favorite tree and she went to go hang out at it right now, do you think that she would still see you guys? Would you guys be able to appear anymore? Is there a way she
Right.
can connect with the fairies here on Earth today?
As Ursula,
Yeah.
through meditation.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, you guys are just so cheerful, you know. We would just like to increase that connection if we can, because we know that you probably put her in a good mood whenever she comes up against you. Um, are there any other anything interesting that happened in this lifetime for her that we should know about? Any like traumas or anything that needs to be released?
She had an accident.
Hmm. How old was she at the time?
She's a little bit older than she is now.
Oh, okay, so it's pretty soon. And what type of an accident was it?
She got caught up in a car. The car ran over her.
Ooh, that's terrible.
Yeah,
Like some broken bones or something like that?
and she died.
Oh no. Okay. And do you feel like that there's some leftover trauma from that incident that's still following her around to this day?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Can you help us to release that now?
yes, we can do that.
Okay. And what's the nature of the trauma that's still following her around? Is it just because it was something that was painful? Does she feel like she made some kind of a mistake? Is there some type of a guilt associated with this? Why is the trauma still following her around?
It was a very painful death.
Mm.
She's very frightened of roads.
Oh, okay.
She
So,
doesn't she doesn't drive today because she's scared of roads.
oh, and the vehicles too.
Very frightened of vehicles.
Okay. Maybe like getting in a wreck or maybe one of them running over her again.
Yes. She
Does
got
she,
hit in this.
what's that?
She got hit by a car as well when she was a child.
Oh no. Okay. Um, can you help us to release that trauma as well? That kind of fear?
Yes.
Okay. And let's help her to learn that whatever it is, it's useful to be learning from these two experiences. Were they just something that random that happened, or were they part of her life's mission?
They just happened.
Okay. Okay. And so as long as she is aware of her environment from here on out, she can always be safe on the roads, right?
No.
No.
She was she had an accident not long ago when she was very aware of her environment.
It's just one of those things that happens, huh?
Yeah.
Is there any way to we want her to not be afraid of roads, and one way to be not afraid is to know you're safe, right? Is there a way? What can she do to be safe and not need to be afraid when she's on the roads? Is there anything? We've released some of the traumas and the pains. Should probably be slightly less afraid of the roads now, just based on the good work you've already done. Is there anything else that we can do to make her feel good and safe and secure when she's on the roads as a pedestrian or a passenger or a driver?
I guess we got to get it out of her head.
Okay. Oh, because like in a way she's bringing it to her. She's kind of manifesting it, right? Am I understanding that right?
Well, she's had quite. She seems to have accidents a lot. She's had a few in her lifetime right now.
Do you feel like that because she thinks about accidents that she maybe draws them to her or manifests them in some way?
No, no. She just accidents are accidents.
Hmm.
Not all have any
Right, a meaning.
meaning or purpose or anything else. Sometimes it just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right, so in no sense keeping it in your head then I guess what can you do, right? So you guys going to
Yeah,
help kind of get that out of her head then, and she'll just feel a little more secure from here on out. Is that right?
we hope so.
We hope so. All right, thank you. I appreciate your help. By the way, we're on kind of a mission to talk to some dragons. Don't they exist in the same mythical realm as the fairies?
They belong to the angelic realm.
Hmm. What is the connection between dragons and angels?
In some ways, they're the same,
Okay.
and in some ways, they're different. They're like cousins.
Okay, that's true. That makes sense. So in a way, they're kind of like they're made from the same energy. They have a very strong tie to source, and they never forget about it like the humans do.
Mhm. Absolutely right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And we understand that there's a aspect of Ursula's multidimensional self that is in fact a dragon that kind of resides on the 18th dimension usually. Is that right?
Yes, dragons they cross dimensions at will.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Can we bring forth that version of Ursula's multidimensional self that is a dragon and talk to it today? Is there a way
Yeah.
where we can meet that somewhere? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Hi there, dragon. That's part of Ursula. How are you doing today?
Well,
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you for coming forward to talk to us. We have some questions that we have prepared for just such a situation. Would it be okay if I ask you some questions on behalf of Ursula?
yes.
Thank you very much. First of all, is there a name that you like to be called or a way that you prefer to be addressed?
Sorry. I'm sorry. The word sir came to mind.
It's what?
Sir.
Sir? Sir works for me. So we would say this dragon is a male energy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And just a moment, we'll get to some of her questions. Right now, sir, have you, Ursula would like to know if if she is she like a fractal of you, or what is your relationship to Ursula? Can you explain it to her in a way that us humans could understand it?
I'm an oversoul.
Oh, you're the oversoul. Okay. Do you have several lives going on Earth at the same time then?
I have lives in different dimensions and different places.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. Um, so if I was to ask to speak to like the highest version of Ursula's highest self, it would be you that I would be talking to.
Correct.
Okay. And are you in fact a dragon, or do you just like to present yourself as a dragon?
I may present myself in any way I like.
Okay.
Dragon is good.
Okay. Right. And that's kind of something all the dragons do anyways, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And just a moment here. And is there is there a specific mission that you sent Ursula down to Earth at this time to perform?
She's carrying a torch for love.
Hmm. So meaning to like be an example to people that see her, something like that?
She just is love.
Okay. Okay. And is there any special talent or gift that she was meant to use during this trip here?
She is bringing the vibration of love to Mother Gaia.
Okay. And it sounds like you're talking about like the alchemy collective call that she does every week, or more than that.
More.
Okay. What else does she do that brings love to Gaia?
She walks peacefully.
Mm, okay. And this love that she was meant to bring to Gaia, how does that help Gaia?
Gaia is ascending.
Okay.
Humans have created fields around her that are
Mm.
strangling her.
Oh, okay. They're like slowing the process down or preventing it from happening.
Yes.
Okay. And so this love that Ursula has as she walks around on the earth is helping to dissipate that or break them up somehow, the fields?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. And she has a question as far as why has it been so difficult for her to discover what her mission is?
Because she thinks it's a particular doing. It's not a doing, it's a being.
Ah, this is we kind of suspected. Okay. Well, I'm getting chills from that, by the way. Oh, by the way, can you start a body scan on her, please? Or have you already done that?
I am doing it now.
Thank you so much, sir. And by the way, we wanted to pay special attention to the arm with the plates and the screws in it. This seems to not be healing up properly. Can you tell me what's going on there or why that's a situation? What can be done?
Metal plates are often used to introduce foreign energies into a human system.
Mm. That's why it's not attaching and connecting to her properly because it feels not right to her.
Yeah, she feels that it's a foreign entity that has invaded her.
Hmm. But it's really just a piece of metal.
She's right to be nervous of it.
She is? Okay. And so let's ask this question in this way then. Are there any entities, tags, attachments, anything that does not belong inside of or on or around Ursula that no longer serves her highest good at this time?
Metal plate is an entity.
Okay. She was curious if you could dissolve it or if that would be an appropriate thing to do.
We can deactivate it.
There we go. Okay. And so I'm assuming you're working on that now?
Yes.
Okay. And this will help this to heal up and stop causing her pain. Is that correct?
Yes, it will also stop interfering with the energy level that are coming into her body.
Oh, wonderful. So it's going to help her to kind of ascend and reach higher levels in her own right then?
Yes, it confuses the field. It creates a barrier.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. Um, okay. And it's okay if I continue asking questions as the body scan is going on, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Um, okay, so I want to ask a few more of her questions, and then hopefully we can get some general information on dragons as a whole as well, because we're trying to have a dragon sort of awareness week this week. We want to expose people to those. Now, is there a message you would like to give to people about dragons?
I expose them. That's a that is a funny word.
Well, maybe some people think that they're only imaginary, right? And we just want them to know that maybe it's a real thing.
Hmm. Mankind gets caught up in its own imaginations. It does. Can't tell the real from the fake.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And we hear, we see books and movies that portray dragons not always in the best light. Is any of that true?
That is manipulation.
Right. And what's the purpose of that manipulation?
It's to create fear.
Thank you.
If you create fear, you can control anybody.
Right. Okay. So if people knew that they were connected to dragons, then they would be a lot less afraid of things. And if they're not afraid, then nobody can control them. Okay. Thank you.
If they knew they were connected to dragons,
Mhm.
they would know that they themselves are love.
Mm.
And if they know that they are love, love and fear are antithesis of each other. They cannot exist in the same place.
Oh, okay.
To make you fear what is pure love is a stroke of genius.
Oh, sounds like such a crime. Oh, it's terrible. But you're right, it is a stroke of genius.
To fear that which is the most loving is like God. Let's fear God.
Right. Because you were saying that the dragons hang out with the angels and they're almost kind of related, right?
We are. We are related.
Yeah. And Ursula kind of had a feeling that it might have been actually the church was the first one to start making people fear dragons.
Yes, indeed. It's a very good tactic. Fear God as well.
Oh, because I was going to say they don't make us fear angels.
Yes,
Angels?
they do. We have fallen angels too, apparently.
Oh, right. But that's not real either,
No.
right? Because how could you fall from God when God is everything and everywhere? Doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
No. God is love. Angels are love. Dragons are
Oh,
love. Pure
right.
love.
Okay. Now, I was having a session with one of my friends the other day, and they said that vampires and werewolves are love too. Is that right? Are those real things even?
They're different beings. Yes, they are. They're love. Of course, they're love. Everybody is love.
I mean, but like, there is a thing as a vampire, and it's a guardian of the night, but it doesn't need to drink people's blood.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I know it sounds silly when you say it to somebody like you, but this is what we're taught, and this is what I'm trying to dispel. Um, the thing
Like
is this,
dragons, dragons apparently go down and eat children and livestock.
right? Like they got a big pot of gold they want to sit on and protect their treasure all the time. Do you have a treasure that you're always protecting, Mr. Dragon?
I could be said to protect frequency of love.
That would be your treasure.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's beautiful.
I
Okay.
keep it pristine, pure.
Hmm. Right. Okay. I like that a lot. Now, Ursula would like to understand the purpose of Beyond Quantum Healing, BQH, as a tool for her. Why was that brought to her?
This is just to help her get past her barriers.
Okay.
She won't need it forever.
Okay. Perfect. And some of those barriers being kind of like her lack of confidence and not feeling herself as the powerful multi-dimensional being that she really is.
Precisely.
Okay. Is there any other barriers that you would want for Ursula to address and dissolve at this time?
She seems to feel that she's unworthy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's been
And
taught to her and bashed into her head by many people.
right. Okay. Excellent. Let's go out of order here just a little bit. This kind of brings me to thinking about the husband who died recently. He had been really trying to make an effort as far as praying and attending mass and communion. He wanted to become the best version of himself, but for some reason it didn't seem to work that way. Can you tell me what really happened there?
Yes, it was the books he was reading.
Okay.
The books that the, the church has created
Yes.
a philosophy that is very distorted.
Okay.
And the more you try to purify yourself, in inverted commas, purify yourself, the more you become confused and the more you become scared because you cannot measure up to some impossible standard which is you're never going to reach because you're taught how not to reach it. You're not taught how to reach it. You're taught how to get far further and further away from it.
Right.
And the fear just grows and grows and grows. So the more you try to become a better version, the worse version you become because you're actually following a
Right.
path which is designed to confuse and to distort and create more and more fear in your heart.
Okay. So in a way, there's some kind of a guilt that comes with that because you think you're supposed to attain some certain state that's impossible to attain, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're not trying hard enough. You get mad at yourself.
And that used to happen to him. He would tear himself apart and then he would tear everybody else around him apart because they were all not measuring up to something that was
Right.
fiction, you know?
It's like we were talking about earlier today, as above, so below. It's like what you feel inside is what you project on everyone else.
And he was so frightened.
Oh, how's he
So
doing now?
frightened.
Tell us about him now. Let's feel better and send him some love first of all. But how's he doing right now?
He he was surprised.
Really?
Eh, well, he thought he was going to some kind of hell or purgatory or
Mm-hmm.
which is part of why he was so scared when he was dying as well.
Mm, okay.
He did reach peace before he died. He did.
Okay.
He he was surprised. He's learning.
Mm,
He's still learning. There's so much pain that has to be washed from his system.
okay. But you guys are working on him, or he's
Of
being
course,
worked on? Yes, of
of
course.
course, of course.
Thank you. I can feel that tremendous love coming from you right now. It's good to know. All right. Just a moment. I want to see if there's anything else that I wanted to ask about him. Seems like you see all the questions anyways, and you seem to have answered it pretty good. Thank you very much. I guess the only thing is that she had some kind of pain, and that she was carrying around. She was got afraid of people as well as being afraid of the roads. Um, can we address that and help her to release that? Help her to gain her confidence and to understand her true power and step into it.
She has, throughout this lifetime that she's being living,
Mhm.
every time she's taken a step forward, she's got pushed really heavily back again. And this has happened since she was the tiniest of children.
Mhm.
It's happened in her home, it's happened in her schools, it's happened in her marriage, it's happened everywhere that she's gone.
Mhm.
And yes, she got afraid, she got so scared to reach out to other people because it became more painful every time she did. She got
Mhm.
punished, and it's she's found it. She can't make decisions or anything else because she's so scared always of the punishment that's coming behind it.
Okay. I'm so glad that you sent her to me, or made it so that we could meet, and I'm just pleased and honored to be able to work with both of you guys. Thank you for that. And you know, hopefully I can be guided to try and serve her best good and help her out as much as I can. She's such a nice, beautiful soul.
She's a very beautiful soul. She's she's one of the most beautiful souls you could hope to meet.
Mm, thank you. All right. Can you tell me about the miscarriages? What were there lessons in there for her? Was it just random things? Was it about the souls that were coming in? Why did that happen?
The first two she sort of knew about. She had a she agreed. She agreed that she would house these children for a short time.
Mhm. This was a benefit to the children.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Please tell me about how and why that works that way, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have miscarriages that have guilt and sadness around that. Can you give me good news about a miscarriage, please?
Well, sometimes the children need they need an exposure for a very, very short time to the earth energies. It serves a purpose in their development and growth.
Kind of gets them ready for a bigger exposure later on.
Yes.
I call it dipping their toes in the water. Is that a good way to say it?
Yes. So for the first miscarriage that she had was one of those.
Okay.
She knew that child was there, even though
Mhm.
nobody would have known she was even pregnant, but she knew the child was there.
Wow. Okay.
And she knew when it came and she knew when it left.
Wow.
Without having to see the physical
Amazing.
results on her body or anything else. She knew. And so that child was with her for that small amount of time.
Mhm.
But just to feel,
Mhm.
just no more than to feel. They did not need to experience or see
Hmm.
or make decisions or
Like
or
it was like the heartbeat, and it hears sounds,
uh,
stuff like that.
and feel her field, so to speak. So as
Okay.
she's moving through her day and she's experiencing joy or sadness or
Like,
fear or love,
Yes.
This child gets to experience, to feel it through her field,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but without actually having to breathe and eat and survive and all the other things that come with living on the planet. So this child gets to
Like a simplified form.
yes, they feel the feelings and emotions. They know the feelings and emotions,
Mhm.
but they are not living one of the lives, so they don't have to take on the heaviness and the density and the veils or anything of forgetfulness. They don't need any of that.
Because it's not even their feelings and emotions they're experiencing. So they're kind of doing it vicariously.
Yes,
Wow, that's super cool. Okay.
yes.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about any of the other miscarriages?
The second one, again, she knew when it came and she knew when it left.
Mhm.
This one stayed much longer with her.
Mhm.
This one actually had deformities as well.
Mhm.
Um,
So it wouldn't have been a viable child even if it had been born?
no,
Okay.
it wasn't going to survive. It never was meant to survive.
Okay. So the deformities there are just in case, just to make sure that it doesn't.
Correct.
Okay.
But this one stayed with her for a long time, so she felt that much more painfully than she felt the first.
Right. Right. And sometimes I wonder if we might feel like we're letting somebody down. We get pregnant and then we don't bring forth a baby. Like, am I a good mother, child carer? Right. That's the kind
Oh,
of.
well, she was accused of that as well. She was accused of not trying hard enough. So
Oh
that
no.
that was another pain that she carried
Oh,
from certainly from the second miscarriage.
okay. Is there anything else we want to say about any of the other ones?
The third and the fourth, she
Like at that point, she probably just didn't have any confidence that she could actually carry a baby, huh?
well, her third pregnancy, she had a child. That was her daughter.
Okay.
The fourth one, she was in America,
Mhm.
and she did not have a clue how America worked. She
Mm,
didn't know how to get health care. She didn't have any resources.
right.
That child got damaged as well.
Okay.
And the fourth one, she was poisoned. She she had she got some soda from a gas station, and somebody put bleach into the machine and didn't rinse it out.
No. Okay. And it was from like a soda machine?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
she was poisoned and the baby died because of that.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I would have never thought of that in a million years.
No, she didn't think of that either.
Right? Oh my goodness. This is going to be amazing to her to know this. Thank you so much. You've already just exceeded my wildest expectations for this session today. I really appreciate you, Ursula Zierspel. I wanted to go back to the husband real quick because he had cancer, and we were curious about how long did he have cancer, or I guess he had like he had some problems for a long time, maybe before they turned into cancer. Can you talk to me about that process a little bit?
He had cancer for at least 30 years.
It
At
was
least
cancer the
30.
whole time.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He used to study in a laboratory.
Hmm.
Some of his friends who worked in that laboratory got cancer as well.
Mm. Okay.
He used to study in the laboratory. He wasn't a student. I mean, he wasn't a chemist or anything like that, but he He used to find that to be a quiet place to study while his friends were doing their chemical researches.
Oh, so he was just hanging out.
Yes.
And it's just in the air or on the tables or something like that. Just not a safe environment.
There were dangerous chemicals, and yeah, it was carcinogenic materials that the people were working with.
And I guess this would have been a long time ago, so people probably just didn't know how to take the proper precautions or didn't know it was carcinogenic.
And their students themselves, some of them were foolhardy. They threw stuff around. They thought they were being funny.
Right? Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes.
Somebody would just never think of 30 years later. You wouldn't just think, oh, this is from when we were goofing around at the chemist lab.
Right.
Amazing, amazing. Also, I hear that there's a kind of a mental and a spiritual component to cancer, so that maybe if he hadn't gotten so messed up with this wrong thinking with the church and beating himself up so hard, maybe that cancer never takes him out like it did. Does that seem right?
Yes, he started to hate himself a lot. He hated himself because I don't know.
But that allowed the cancer to become worse, right? That's why it finally killed him, was because of the hate.
Yes, he was eating him from the inside in just the same way that his thoughts were eating him from the inside.
Right. And so the cancer just took that as a message that, oh, it's time for me to go into turbo mode,
Yes.
because this is what he wants.
Yes, he was
The
destroying
cancer
himself from
thinks
the
that.
inside. Yes.
And so otherwise he would have just had kind of like minor pain and discomfort like he had for the 20 years before that. And it probably wouldn't have killed him.
Yes, he could have kept it contained.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so people out there, we just want you to hear about the power of your thoughts and your emotions. When you beat yourself up and self-loathing and self-hate and these types of things, it will fuel minor things inside of you, create things, and potentially can literally kill you.
Yes.
Right, Ursula's higher self? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. It's a very important message. I want to make sure we get that out to everybody. Oh, and as long as we're on this type of a subject here, this one's kind of funny to me and Ursula anyways, but it shouldn't be, but for some reason. So Ursula feels other people's energies. She can tell if they're happy and they're sad, and but she can't tell when they're going to lie to her. Why is that? I know, it's ridiculous, right?
Yes, but it does make sense.
Talk to us about that. I'm sure there's other people in the same situation, empaths that still get lied to. How does that happen?
Because because you treat people with honesty, you think everybody does the same.
So just what we were thinking it would be. Okay.
There is that, and also Ursula has a really bad tendency of reading that somebody has an ill intention towards her. And I think it's because of her feeling of unworthiness that she dismisses it.
Uh-huh.
And so when they do,
But she doesn't believe herself.
yes, and also sort of thinks, oh well, it's the normal. Here comes the punishment because it always does come anyway.
Right.
So instead of looking at it and saying, okay, walk away.
Right. Juking and jiving, she just walks head first into it.
She just stands there and waits for the blow. She just waits for the blow every time.
No.
Every time.
All right. So she actually gets warned, could avoid it, but is just so used to it that she doesn't even bother anymore because she thinks, well, if I go left, it'll find me there. And if I go right, it'll find me there.
And she's right. It does find her every time.
Oh, no. So, I mean, but she shouldn't just sit there and flinch and close her eyes and wait for it, right? There's no point in that. Is there?
Yes, there was a point in it.
Oh. at one point in time?
She mm, she vibrates with love. That's her thing. She is love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's all very well walking through this earth as a loving being. I mean,
Mhm.
that's needed and it's very necessary, and that's what she's here to do.
Sure.
But she couldn't possibly relate to any other person on the planet if that's all she did.
Right?
So
Lock her up in an insane asylum or something?
she just would not. Yeah, they would lock her up actually, but
Function, right.
she couldn't function. She doesn't function very well anyway. She tends to not understand people terribly well because she still keeps coming at them,
Mhm.
thinking the best, and that's not how the planet operates.
That's why she's here, right? That's why we needed her here.
That's right. So, but in order to fully comprehend
Yeah.
the people around her
Yeah.
and to be fully empathic,
Yeah.
and I'm not by that I don't mean take on their energies, because she does tend to do that, but in order to offer them true compassion, she has to understand what they're going through.
Yeah.
So she has been bullied, beaten,
Hmm.
abused.
Right.
Um, she's experienced most forms of abuse on that you can possibly experience on this planet. Being lied to is part of it. It's a form of abuse as well.
So this gives those people that abuse her the chance to experience their polarity and to see the difference between them and her. And then thereby maybe be inspired to change. It's like
Yes,
somebody turns the other cheek, and then you say, "Wow, are you crazy?" And you smack them again, and then they turn the other cheek, and eventually you think, maybe there's something to it. Maybe turning the other cheek isn't so bad.
yes, and she literally turns the other cheek over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets her into serious trouble sometimes because she turns her cheek without walking away,
Right.
so that they'll keep coming at her. But the thing is, more, yes, it provides a contrast,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a learning curve for her, so that when she meets other people who, for example, are abused, she can recognize the pain that they're undergoing, and she recognizes the pain that the abuser is undergoing as well.
Interesting. Okay. Right.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
she doesn't withhold her love from either side. So she needs to know both sides. So she's been kind of pig in the middle.
Right. And because everybody needs healing, no matter what, both sides need healing, right?
That's right.
They need love. That's the whole problem. It's neither one of them's feeling enough love. Because if you were feeling enough love, you wouldn't let that happen to you. And if you were feeling enough love, you wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly.
Amazing. Wow.
Yes.
Just crazy. I want to cry right now. I'm getting just amazing energy off of you too. Okay. So that makes me get distracted. I was on a good roll. I had something else I'd wanted to say, but that's just so powerful. I just want to kind of sit in that for a moment. Okay. We were talking about the miscarriages. Can you talk to me about abortion? What does the spirit world feel about that? Because I'm thinking you would just go back up and get right back in line. It wouldn't really, I mean, you're eternal, right? It doesn't hurt you.
It doesn't hurt the child who has been aborted, but it hurts the person who'd carried out the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
It pulls huge rips in their energy field.
Mm. So therefore not recommended.
Not at all.
Thank you. Okay.
It's been used by, it's actually a form of control.
Mhm.
They teach the women that they have control over their bodies because they get to choose abortion.
Mhm.
But a woman would not need to ever choose abortion if she really had control over her body at all. So instead of being taught that they actually are powerful beings who have the right to say no to anybody and everything,
Mhm.
they are used, their bodies are used. And then they're taught that they have control because they can kill the offspring of this.
So it's really a sign of weakness, is what that really is. It's not strength at all.
There is no strength in it. It's very damaging to the person who does the abortion, the doctor who does the abortion, as well as the person who receives the abortion.
Oh, wow. So if you're a doctor and you do abortions all day, every day, you're going to have like issues,
Very,
demons, whatnot.
yes, that's very damaging. It's not medical.
Mm.
It's not, it does not line up with the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm at all.
Oh, my goodness. You're right. Okay. Okay. That's amazing. I can't believe the stuff you're bringing forward today. Wow. 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 Okay. I had wanted to get into Dragon Week, but this stuff is so much better. You know, that was just for entertainment. This is like real stuff that's going to hit people on an emotional level and hopefully make them learn and grow. Okay, so just once again, I just want to go back to this just a little bit and say that if you believed in yourself as somebody that could provide care and money and a household and food, then you would never have an abortion, right? There would never be a reason to, right?
That is correct. But if you also believed in yourself and knew that you have the right to say, no, we are not creating a child. Creating a child is a choice. It's not something that is imposed one upon another.
You'd have said no sooner.
It's a sacred union,
Mhm.
and the sacredness has been lost.
Mm.
Women are taught that they are the property, the chattel of their husbands, and that their bodies belong to their husbands, and that they have no right to say yes or no to whatever the husband wants. That is not true and never has been true. And it's a misuse of the sacred energy of union. And both sides are guilty. The husband for enforcing, and the wife for accepting.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
But it is a distortion of sacred energy that has been given, and is that is a treasure that's supposed to be looked after.
Let's dive deep into this thing because you're bringing up so many neat ideas for me right now. Okay, so first of all, the spirit realm, how would you guys feel about birth control? Let's say condoms. Not going to care, right?
Birth control is a choice. It's not the time to have children. You're not having children. Why
Right.
would you not stop that from happening? Having said that, there are dangerous substances, chemicals that they're putting into women's bodies that should not go in their bodies at all.
This is the next one. I wanted to say condoms first, but then we're going to go into like birth control pills and these the devices they stick in their arm and things like this. These are IUDs or the one they put up in the tubes. I mean, none of that's good, right?
That's not good.
Okay. If there was one form of birth control that would be the best, or best practice, safest, what would we say?
The safest is mutual agreement. The safest is to treat sexuality as the sacred union that it is, not as a base lust, but as a sacred union, not something that has to be indulged in at whim.
Right, like on a schedule or just for fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, why does it feel so good then? If you guys didn't want us to do it a lot.
We're not saying that you should not do it a lot. It's something that true sexuality is about merging energy fields. And you're
Right,
not merging energy fields, you're just playing.
right.
And
So
and
if
and
you, Mhm.
you're not therefore giving it the due, the seriousness, the sacredness and the due that it should have. You're trivializing it.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So if a man and a woman were coming together, they were going to have sex, and they had both agreed that we don't want to have a kid,
Right.
then it would be pretty likely that a kid would not develop from that union. Is that right?
No, because you've distorted the energy fields and you're not really in control of that anymore.
Okay. Okay.
It would be true if you were approaching it with the sacredness that it deserves.
Mhm. Okay. And there's also other ways to use that energy other than having a baby that would be sacred too, right? Is it there's like tantra and or sex magic and these types of things? Can you talk to me about those types of practices and like the positive and the negative of them, if there is a positive? I don't know.
I can't speak for you because she has no knowledge of what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. So sometimes people will come together with the intention of using the energies from sex um, for various purposes other than creating a baby. And this is something that they would be doing on purpose.
That's misuse, I think.
That's what? Misuse?
Misuse.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And I really appreciate that you for all this. We got way off the track of where we wanted to go, but I think it's such interesting topics and you guys just really got me to think. Okay, so let's get back to Ursula a little bit here.